Bonsoir et bienvenue. Aujourd'hui, nous accueillons Kurtogpi, bureau islandais établi à Reykjavik. Steinthor Kari Karason et Ásmundur Rafn Sturluson, fondateurs de l'agence, se partagent ce semestre l'enseignement du projet bachelor 3e année, dont le thème est le port de Reykjavik, ville qu'ils connaissent parfaitement puisqu'ils en sont originaires. Après s'être expatriés à l'étranger pour étudier, à l'EPFL et à la Bartlett School de Londres, ils fondent ensemble en 2004 l'agence Kurtogpi à Reykjavik. Kurtogpi, qui signifie en ancien islandais avec élégance mais sans prétention, est révélateur de la philosophie de l'agence. Kurtogpi aborde les projets en pensant que la solution doit être trouvée dans le contexte de l'édifice, bâti et naturel, social et historique, proche et lointain. L'objectif est de cristalliser la solution à travers une architecture qui établit un dialogue avec l'environnement du bâtiment et, en même temps, développer une sensibilité et un respect pour celui-ci. Ces objectifs se réalisent dans une architecture qui offre une place à l'imaginaire de l'utilisateur et à sa perception du bâtiment dans son contexte proche et lointain. Fonctionnalité et permanence sont des thèmes récurrents qui permettent d'atteindre ces objectifs. L'architecture de Kurtogpi raconte une histoire. L'agence travaille sur des projets divers, à diverses échelles, qui vont des travaux de rénovation moderne et petites interventions à des bâtiments publics. Parmi leurs bâtiments, il y a ceux qui se trouvent en situation urbaine étroite, comme l'Académie islandaise des arts. Il y a ceux qui se trouvent dans un contexte dense et chaotique, dans certaines banlieues récemment planifiées de Reykjavik, comme Perlukor, ou finalement ceux en relation avec un environnement naturel, comme le collège Borgarnes. Engagés dans l'enseignement, Karason et Sturluson sont dès 2002 professeurs au département de design et d'architecture de l'Académie des arts d'Islande. Leur travail a été plusieurs fois récompensé et leurs travaux sont régulièrement publiés, notamment récemment dans le Domus. Je passe maintenant la parole à Steinthor Kari Karason. Merci.
Merci. C'est bon? Merci. To start with, I will change to English now. Since our studio here is in English, I will just continue that. Tonight I would like to talk about some project we've been working on or built some competitions for the last 7 years or so. It's possible to categorize them in terms of location and situation, urban, suburban, and in relation to the nature or natural circumstances. Also by function. We have this lecture presents 3 kind of different fields we've been working in the private sector, the private houses, arts and culture, and education. We present ourselves as architects who are to look at the situation and respond on it and reflect on it. So our architecture is about the situation, is about this relationship between the building and its own environment. In the way how the building can tell the story of the site, tell the story of the situation, reflect on the situation through its architecture, and be part of that environment at the same time. So it's created by and creating the situation or the environment. The first 3 projects that I would like to show you are private houses. They're all in recently planned suburbs of Reykjavik, and although they were not we did not work on them at the same time. They became like a trio. They became like they were all related, and that just came naturally. It's just the way they developed. And they're all about how is it possible to, how can we build in these circumstances the contemporary suburbs are. During the first years of, or the last years of 20th century and the first years of the 21st, a lot of areas around Reykjavik were developed for private houses. Really a building boom of huge villas in very small plots. They were all focused on the interiors. The houses were as big as they could possibly be. So the land around them and the land next to the houses were like the leftovers. So they do not have any spatial quality or any quality at all. The life of the people, the model is to create this generous interior world stuffed with gadgets and technical solutions, expensive materials, expensive designer furniture, but the content and the context is really leftover. They get in the car in the garage in the morning, drive away, and get back home into the garage and into their home. We did 3 houses in these circumstances. And our question was, how is it possible to provide exterior spaces in such a situation? The first house is called Perlukór. It's relatively small at that scale, under 300 square meters. And it is placed in a small street next to typical houses. And it's on 2 floors. This is the lower floor. This is the street. You enter here, living area, and you can go up here with a master bedroom, laundry, bathroom, children, family, and stair again. Down here's the kitchen, dining, and living. Really simple plan. With these covered terrace here, roof terrace here, and the meat in the middle in this hole which goes through the building, and or the house. So the house is actually organized around this hole in the middle. We did actually fill completely the building boundary. So there's a building boundary, and what we did was to extend the house really to the borders of the building boundary, and then carve out. So you have this covered terrace here. The only demand by the building regulation or the planning regulations were that half of this elevation was supposed to be in this line here. So we had this upper half was then fixed to the line, and then the rest of it was carved out. The idea is that all the exterior spaces which are used by the house are actually part of the house. They follow the architecture of the house. So the relationship between the house and the far away, or the environment are through these exterior spaces which are part of the house. So here we have this carved out terrace here, the roof terrace there, and the relationship to the lawn or the terrain around the house is you step out of the house into the ground. not as there is no indication or no. We're not trying to make this part of that. So it's really a rupture between it. All the main exterior spaces are just part of the house. So here we have the roof terrace, which has this beautiful views, sheltered and enjoys the sun, south facing. The entrance, I think you can say it in this house and some others. There is this sequence of entrance. There's a long entrance, and you're coming from the north, and you approach the house. You get under it. The longer you get under the house, the more light comes. So this ambiguity, which I like a lot. And you are 2/3 through the house when you finally enter. And come in the entrance area here, look out there, and then the stairs up. And there directly is the first glimpse of the importance of the hole in the house for the organization of it. And through it, this relatively enclosed house on the outside opens completely up on the inside, creates this relationship within the house in a three-dimensional way, horizontally, vertically, diagonally, inside, outside, through spaces, exterior and interior, and becomes really like the heart of the house. So this is taken from the upper floor, looking downwards towards the main entrance and the entrance area, roof terrace, small garden, and covered terrace. So it all comes together in this one point. In the one thing which is very important for this hole in the middle to work is the circulation in the house. There are actually 2 stairs, so there's never a dead end in a way. You can go up one side of it, down the other, so the circulation is around the house, around the hole in the middle. The next one, which is still under construction actually, is normally we work really close to with the clients. That's really essential for us, and we make the clients understand that right from the beginning that this will be a long and painful journey on a small boat where everybody has to row in the same direction, and it will cost a lot of money. So to make sure that they will be with us, it's a teamwork. And this client came to us, and they were really direct, and we were not sure in the beginning, but then they said, we want a real house. We don't want any apartment on steroids. So they were really, and we thought, yeah, we can take them quite far, these. And so we developed a strategy for this house. The boundary of it is by centimeter, really the limit of how much we were supposed to build. It's really this edge here. And then we carved out. And the house is planned as a series of rooms. So it's not like it's really like a precisely defined rooms, which are then assembled and related, and with interior, exterior spaces, different levels, on-constructed connections, that creates the world of the house. So it's carved out courtyard here, another one there, here, roof terrace, courtyard. So a series of exterior spaces which are create the relationship with the exterior. So you always you you have this relationship with the exterior through these exterior spaces, normally diagonally. And in the beginning, there was no window facing on the elevations. They were all facing courtyards. We then later on added 3 windows, but all of them are they're not placed in the elevation, but they're placed on the inside. And normally when there are like some installation, like in the kitchen, so the window is really next to the oven. So you have the window, the glass of the oven, and then the window. So it's like you're not really sure if it's really a window or something else. So here we have the plan. This is the ground floor plan. Street. It sits on a corner plot here. The main entrance here. And it's all the exterior spaces are clad with black tinted oak, like this one, that one, roof terrace, except for this one here. So you enter, this is the door. The doorbell is here, you let in, and you enter this room, which is exterior space. It's like a small courtyard, white painted, so it's actually treated as an interior space. From there you enter the vestibule and into this grand hall here, which is really like the heart of the building. So again, like in the last project, you've been going through these, into this covered space, courtyard, vestibule, hall. So you traveled almost you're 2/3 into the building when you're there. Next to that is the dining room and the kitchen, connected with this terrace. You can exit here. The kitchen connected with this morning terrace, enjoys nice, beautiful morning sun and the evening sun here. And from here you step up this ramp here into the living room. And from there is the master bedroom, bathroom, enclosed courtyard, bedroom, balcony, and study. So this can actually all be like a one huge a master suite with studio and living. From here you can exit here, step up to this roof terrace, go down here again into this terrace here, or again down here where you land here in the garden in front of the children's bedroom here and out to the lawn. So it's like a never-ending connections and different ways of routes through the building, creating all sorts of visual connections between spaces. And always you have this relationship between the exterior and interior is through these spaces. So it's never like directly on the elevation of the house. And here, like in the kitchen, the window sits here in the installation, in the dining here, or in the study, in the bookshelves. So it's in the glasses in the face of the installations. The building or the house is all clad in corten steel, bit referring to the swamp where it's built. It's like in a wetland, and there is this corten envelope, and for example here, when there is this opening, it's just an opening in the envelope. It's not a window. It's just an opening. It's this one here. So it appears to be a window, but when you come closer and you look diagonally, you start to see kind of through the building. You see the sky through the standing here, looking through the living room, through this courtyard, and to the sky here. So it's like it's giving the sense of depth and the body of the building. And so these windows sits very deep in the elevation, and this one as well. And here we have the courtyards and the balcony here. So this is from the dining through the terrace into the kitchen, to the window there, up into the living, into the hall. And this is the living room with the hole in the front of the building. You can exit here, step up to the roof terrace there. So this the wall, the edge of the courtyard here. This is the entrance courtyard. So this is the entrance door there. So you look right up to the living room, and this edge is the edge in the ceiling of the living room. So actually, in spatial terms, the living room extends out there. And this is the master bedroom. The only window actually in the bedroom is this through this courtyard. It's open to the sky. It's on site. It's been on site for quite a while and will still be. But hopefully next year it will be finished. The last house in this series is in a situation, really similar situation, almost the same. Sits in a corner of at the end of a cul-de-sac, very big, 500 square meters, and again approached in a similar way, where we were dealing with very difficult both situation and regulations, where we had to raise the house. The main floor had to be at this level here, or actually approximately there. So it's like almost 2 meters from street up to the main level of the house. Right in the beginning, the client wanted to have some series of rich and multifunctional exterior spaces. And we just thought, well, in this kind of situation, it's not the obvious thing to do. But we managed to provide them with different kinds of exterior spaces, all of which are very different, with different function, but all are like inseparable part of the house. It sits in this cul-de-sac here. So it's this here. And it's organized in such a way that it provides enclosed courtyard, winter garden, raised lawn, and sunken courtyard, and the entrance area as well here. So this is the main floor. This is the entrance area here. Walk up here, entrance. So this kitchen area, family living rooms, bedrooms here, all organized around this this courtyard here, and the kitchen, which was very important for them, is between this courtyard and the winter garden. So this is covered with you can open it up here and connected with the lawn. And the lawn is raised, so the lawn has the same level as this floor, meaning that the proportion of the lawn and its situation is not like sitting in between these houses, really eaten by it, but raised up, so you can have this completely different relationship towards the sky and towards the small views which you have here. Actually, it's the main floor is like a box sitting on this plinth, on this base, and this base is about dealing with the inclination of the ground, making this horizontal base, and this is the entrance area, and this courtyard is kind of open and kind of closed. So it's not really like a sunken courtyard in the middle of a house, but the house wraps around it and does not really touch. So it's like really makes this tension at this point here, at this entrance point. And this actually is a revolting panel which can be opened up, so you can enter the courtyard if you like to. if they like to. This is the winter garden and the sunken courtyard here. So the winter garden can be opened up like that, and with there are like huge sliding doors to the living room, and another one to the kitchen. So this is like an added room to the house where the dining and the kitchen kind of meet in the summer and the winter. And this is seen from the entrance, where you have like this sliding door next to the courtyard, and these sliding doors to the winter garden, the kitchen and living. Stairs down to the ground. This is the entrance from the double entrance on top of each other, secondary and primary, and they meet in the entrance area. And I think the beauty of the courtyard is that it is in the middle of the house, and it separates, it organizes. It's really the heart of the house. It separates and unifies at the same time. It's like these layers of the living room, corridor, exterior courtyard, corridor, bedroom. So things are separated without enclosing them, without shutting them off. So the life of the house, everyday life of the house, function through this courtyard. And like in terms of sound, for example, you don't hear the thing, what's happening here when you're standing there, and vice versa. But then all of this is like a 3-meter ceiling height, and these are like sliding doors, 4 sliding doors, opening completely up the courtyard. So the courtyard in the summertime becomes really like a part of the house. And this is the entrance door to the main bedroom, or the master bedroom, bedrooms and bathrooms, out into the courtyard. Here you have these sliding doors. And here's the revolving panel open, and you have this glimpse out into the neighborhood. The materials are, the base is kind of really rough concrete, exposed concrete, just as it appears from the contractors. But the box on top has this fine detailed anthracene, which is like pre-weathered zinc, and all details kind of really been measured down. And the details of, for example, handrails are really applied directly to the concrete, really simple way. And then you have it on the inside, bit same way, but bit more kind of worked and thorough kind of thinking and finely tuned. One important thing for us is the plan, the planning, the function of our buildings. In all of these houses, that was really one of the key kind of factors. How is the flow? How are the connections? How is it to live there? How does it work? And at the same time, kind of with this rich spatiality and connections to the exterior world. This is a competition we did 2 years ago. It's like an elderly people's home in a small fishing village in the east of Iceland. It was very kind of narrow program, difficult. It is like a three department home, where we had to provide them with like different kinds of exterior spaces, courtyards and gardens. We managed to plan. They were really strict on square meters by definition, and what we did, we split it up into these 3 parties here. 1, 2, 3. Each of them has a living room, Each of them has a courtyard, each of them has a garden, and each of them has a winter garden, all of which are kind of finely tuned together. And all the plan here is that all of the so this is like a one unit for one person here, enjoys views without being like faced with the adjacent department. So they like have like this one looks this way and that way. So like look outwards. In the end of this corridor, there is this winter garden which can then be opened up, and this is the living room, and this is the enclosed courtyard. So between the garden and the courtyard, there is a living room. The same here, the courtyard and the garden and the living room between them. And these are kind of together. You can open up between here, and you have this courtyard and a garden. And always this winter garden in the end, at the end of the... So this relationship between the interior and exterior, having the exterior as really the inseparable part of the building, is like we pull it through the extremes there. So you have like this enclosed courtyard, a courtyard next to this living room, connected with the garden. One side we have this like flat kind of very, very flat, it has to be very, very flat garden. And the other side a bit more robust kind of nature, where the building is providing a different kind of exterior spaces within and outside of the building. One of the fields we've been working, as I said, is the arts. We've been doing several kind of small and large arts interiors often. And this house we did for a private art collector. This was supposed to be, he's living abroad, but he occasionally comes to Iceland, and he wanted to have like a holiday home, reception house, and for his private collection. When we first got there, it was really, really strange. There was a German engineer who built it just after the Second World War, and it was really made of concrete. It was all the walls, the walls between rooms, everything was made of concrete, and it was like series of small rooms, and it was really hard to understand. But we saw the possibility and what we could do something there. So we dug out 40 tons of concrete, and we opened it up, and this was about replanning the house. And what we said for this house was about making the house what it wanted to be, actually, both in terms of the function of how it was built and where it was located. Really on the seaside and the outskirts of Reykjavik. But then the first thing we did, the only wall we raised actually was this one. So this is seen from when you enter, and it was a long struggle to persuade the client that we had to build a wall when you come in and would not have the beautiful views. But this wall was about this hole in the ceiling here, because the house was really like on two very like a superposed floors with no relationship between them, and absolutely, very poor kind of spatial sense. So we did this hole in the ceiling, which became kind of the centerpiece of the house, creating this kind of spatial feeling, and at the same time a space with no purpose, no kind of practical purpose. It was just there, but everything passes through there. So this is the hole here, seen. This is the kitchen, seen the garden, so it's like framing. So from here you see the garden and you see out to the sea, kitchen and the stairs down. And this project was a project where everything was kind of designed. It was we went quite far in the. This is the first time we designed a refrigerator. But it is possible. But so we did 3 of them actually for all his wine. And then we opened up into the basement. The basement was just really kind of small room, storage, nothing. At the same time, they had this area here, this terrace. It's like if you can say in Iceland, a hot pot, but really sheltered and just a lot of sun. So we created a family room in the basement or in the lower floor actually, with the garden and this terrace. And again up the really simple kind of materials, limestone, walnut, and stainless steel, made basically white walls. And then just this piece here, we decided to have it like all, this is like all made of 8mm thick steel. And finally we decided that it should be untreated. It's just like a rough steel. Some reality. And then this is the entrance door. So this ever-changing light here. And actually one of the most beautiful artwork in his collection was here actually by Icelandic artist called Ragnar Robertsdóttir, a woman in her mid-60s. So you can see here actually this. So she crushes glass, which she sticks on the wall, and this is crushed crystal here on this side, much finer. So this reflection of the light, ever-changing and really rich, and this relationship between the architecture and art is quite strong there. Also, we've done recently. We did this commercial art gallery. It's in the center of Reykjavik, by the harbor, close to the harbor, in an old warehouse, and it's quite successful gallery presenting a lot of important artists. And they needed to expand. They were really in a tiny building, a tiny house, and they needed to expand. Both they needed more kind of bigger exhibition space, but also the working area and meeting rooms and such. So it was kind of, although this was the main space, quite really it's like something like 8 by 8 meters, ceiling height 4.5 or so. Really a nice exhibition space, and it was made in such a way that these walls are actually all fake. So you can go behind all the walls for the installations, wiring and so on. So it's really really functioning quite well as a exhibition space. And behind you have these supporting spaces. So the reception here, kitchen behind there. This is the reception, and behind this glass door is the offices or the working areas for the storage. Here, and in this case again, we went quite far in detailing tables and installations, all kind of designed, and presenting. The gallery, we wanted to present itself in a really in the haute gamme of galleries. They're really they're working on the international scene, but at the same time we wanted to have the back of it really rough. So we almost did nothing there. We just added some. Even the wiring of the lights is just like as little as possible. And the wire for the computers and stuff, it's just like that. So I think it's quite important that you are when you are working there with the this is the temporary storage. They have like other storages like somewhere else in the town. But we didn't want them to work in a gallery. They should have like a proper working space, different working space, not like sitting almost like dress code in a white room. And these doors here, they can be opened up completely. These are the old warehouse doors out onto the street. So in openings in the summer, it's kind of, you can open it up. It's really nice. I want to show two competitions we did in an urban situation. First one is an extension to a library in a small town next to Reykjavik. These two boxes is the existing library. This is really a tiny. It's an old village actually. Tiny like a residential street, but this is like a public square with a cinema and the city hall close by. And there is a difference of height. There's like a one story from there to there. And we wanted to somehow talk to both sides, building this gap. There's always been a gap here, really strange. Want to build this gap here, and at the same time build a like civic building on the square. We took it quite directly, so we just picked up the alignments of these strangely placed houses on the street, creating these kind of 4 boxes. So on this side, they were supposed to pick up the alignment of the street, but at this side here, was supposed to become like a one strangely formed building mass raised from the ground because of the height difference between these floors here. This is like a typical library floor with the storage in the old library and reading rooms, and like the main library in the old one, all planned in a really kind of classical way. It's supposed to be like a classical library with the stairs in the middle. So this is the main entrance, and there you can see how this is the height difference actually. So this is this mass. So at this floor, this side, it has this kind of appearance of a civic building, but the back side, it's really kind of picking up the scale of the houses adjacent to it. It has this different scale. So this box is kind of sitting there. Interiors completely just books, all made of walnut. That's maybe why we didn't win. I don't know. Quite expensive, but and the stairs. Another project in a quite dense urban situation is the proposal for the Icelandic Academy of the Arts. Actually, a huge program. This is the site here. This here about. And we were really kind of struggling if we should participate in the competition or not. But we just felt we should. But at the same time, the decision to have the art college there, we were opposed to it. They were really squeezing it in, some 18,000 square meters, and to give the school some livable spaces and good building something had to give, and that meant probably the city. The scale of the building, or the scale of this project, is such that you can argue that it's not like a building. It's actually part of the city. It's like a city block. And we decided to treat it in such a way to have this lower part picking up the street, really building the street, the parapets of the adjacent buildings. And there were all the public functions of the academy: library, concert halls, theater. Because the art academy, we have their design and architecture, music, dance, theater, and fine arts, all mixed together. So all of this was supposed to be these public, outgoing kind of functions. And on top of that, you would have this roofscape, we call it, which is a bit like all these kind of roofs. Sometimes these roofs are like on 2 floors or 2 levels. So we would have this kind of roofscape here, where all the private, I mean like studios of students would be. It was built so this is the main building. It has an entrance here, main entrance, then another entrance on the next street, on the next floor. Also, there's like a one floor height difference between here. And so all of these are kind of these big rooms, cafes, library, restaurants, and so on. So this is So this is the relationship between those 2 streets. This is the relationship really sectioned through here, where we have this series of ramps and inclined gardens next to this inclined street. So this is really like the main public route of traveling through the building. Here, next to this elevation, cafe there, theater there. So this is where everything is happening. Ending up on this garden here. And on the upper floors are studios, really kind of densely planned. This is the music, where they have to have all these kind of private rehearsal rooms. And this is design and architecture. This is fine arts. And in the middle of it, they're all connected with this second route of circulation, which goes from lower floors up through the building, but it's like the internal circulation, running here through the building all the way up. We sometimes thought that we should have had this building 1 story lower, and actually we could have placed some of these rooms. So because this is the theater department, and they asked for a lot of like black boxes, like rehearsal rooms for their students, and we could have taken them and we could have placed them here. But in a way, we wanted to show the art academy and the jury that this was just too big, and also because we didn't want to give the theater students some rehearsal rooms in -2 or -3, and the first thing when they would go out of this black box, they would hit like they would have to take 2 stairs up to get daylight, a proper daylight and some oxygen. So we decided, no, it's going to be pure. It's going to all be upstairs. So it is quite tall. So these are the artists, the students' studios, and all the kind of communal functions of the studios. like classrooms and printing areas and so on, are next to this kind of spine which goes through the building. And this is the main shopping street in Reykjavik, where we have so this is all public, and this roof here, huge roof, containing all the studios and the private facilities of the students. The last project I want to show is a college we did. It's in a small village north of Reykjavik, some 1 hour's drive. It's a really typical village, Icelandic village, where the houses are completely randomly placed. It's just like you place a house and then comes the street. Sometimes it follows the houses, sometimes not. But it's like, I want my house to turn this way, but I want to have my house this way, and okay, why not? And then we had this site. This is like, which used to be the sports ground of this village, but it's not anymore. They have built another one elsewhere. And this site is quite particular. It is beautiful views. This is like this mountain here is like it's the pride of the village. The sea and these rocks. And these rocks are quite particular. They are almost like brown, golden in color. The reason for that is normally when you have an eruption, volcanic eruption, the level of iron goes down. But then under certain conditions, the level of iron goes up. And this is what happens in this area. So this is actually just like rusted rocks. It's just like a rust. So if you break a rock like that, like here it's broken, then it's actually black on the inside. This is the surface which is like rusted. And it's ever changing actually. Quite beautiful. That's something we really quite particular in this area. Also these rocks are then covered with kind of this dry vegetation. Really, it's like a moss and some blackberries. Really thin, really dry. And this all was kind of a important kind of drive in our project. The school is placed really next to one of these rocks. It's organized by some boxes, which are a bit like the houses of the village, just placed kind of almost like randomly. But between them is always something interesting happening. And together they form some sort of a unity. So the main entrance is here. This is a library, a classroom, actually a big classroom which can be separated in 3, a classroom, working room. It's a really small college of like 200 to 240 students. And this is the main, like a aula or some sort of a assembly. And this building actually is both like a college and a community center, or like a cultural center for the village. So we decided we didn't want to give them a college which was like a part of a community center, nor did we want to give the feeling that when you were going to a concert, that you were going to a concert in the college. Somehow kind of make it work both ways, depending on what was happening in the building. So all of this is working as the community center. With the it can be opened up, this room, seating here, you can exit there, like cloaks and toilets here. So it's really, so this is the public part of it. At the same time, when you come into a school, you experience this as the school, and this is the canteen. So it's really kind of working in both ways as a college and the community center. On the upper floor, we have this is offices and classrooms and group rooms. and this is like a double ceiling height of the auditorium. We carve out these areas here are outside areas. So when this building is kind of wrapped in this copper brass alloy, copper zinc alloy called brass, by cutting it here, this echoes a bit how it is formed of these blocks, and creating different relationship between the interior and exterior, which I'll show you later. And this is the basement. So these are the students' facilities, and because of it's a community center, there's like some sort of like an artist entrance here, delivery for the scene there. So you can actually shut off the school and only enter there and go down into the basement where the students' facilities are. And these are like technical rooms and storage. So here we have so this is the whole of the building, cut out here, giving these different relationships with the exterior, and echoing this how it's composed as a building. It's forming two kind of court or like exterior spaces, the entrance area and the outside area related to the auditorium and the lobby. And sitting there in the scale of the rocks, in the colors of the rocks, and this material of the building is kind of it's aging and developing and ever changing, a bit like the rocks around it. So this is the entrance area, and on the other side you have this kind of exterior space, which can be, you can exit from there. So this is actually the back of the auditorium. It sits close to the rock, so between this building and the rock is this sheltered space, sunny and warm. And you can exit from the basement here, where you have the students' facilities. And the form kind of sometimes opens up, you see through, it's like seeing through the building in a strange way. And on the roof we have the same sort of the same rocks which we have broken. So the color of the roof is getting more brown and brown. In the beginning it was black. So it's like that's maturing and developing and changing. That's something really important for us. Normally when we're choosing and using materials is the beauty of the tear and wear, the use of materials. When they're used, things are used, they change, and they get, if they're carefully chosen and suitable for the function, they become more and more beautiful actually. And from the student facilities, this kind of pride is framed, and the building pulls back to give the view to the mountain. And on the ground floor, between these blocks of classrooms, you have these huge windows, and we decided to have them to detail them in a huge way. So it's like a big chunky frame around them. And on this floor, you can actually go right next to the window and look outside, and you don't see a thing of the building. Your views are kind of really wide and open. But on the floor above, where it's set back, it's based like a zoom lens. There you have the relationship between the building. The view is framed by the building in which you are placed, and you look at this vegetation directly related to this vegetation. But by pulling us back, we control the views. So you don't see the rocks below, you see the vegetation on top. So that's kind of, but in a really almost the same location in the building. giving different views on the same thing around it. So these kind of roofs with the balcony, so this is the teacher's lounge with the balcony there, and the corridor here, you can see through it here, and it opens up this break between different parts of the building. It's where this composition, is it like a whole or is it separate? Is it like it's really dancing on a thin line between being kind of whole thing or broken up? And these kind of relationship we love, that you experiment and you experience your own building in which you are placed in a multiple, like in many ways. You see it here, and you see the reflection of the building in your building. Or is it like at this in this area? Is it like a one building, or is it actually more? So this kind of question is still open for you as a user, and this kind of reflecting the composition of the building, of these boxes, kind of creating this interesting relationship between them. And on the inside, you have on the corridor areas, it's really kind of solid blocks of concrete, like a street, opening up and then closing towards the views. Always kind of placed in an irregular way, managing to direct and to search for views and close on others. And opening up, like in a three-dimensional way, you have the view to the sky and the light pouring in from the south-facing window and back of the auditorium. And in the materials, wherever there is not a concrete in the corridor areas, they're just like pure industrial white tiles, 15 by 15, just with no joint, just placed on the wall, bit like the underground, just as a protection. And rough steel, and in the ceiling, we managed to have with this irregular kind of ceiling, with orientating ceiling, which was quite important. We managed to get rid of all the technical stuff from the corridor areas, so we didn't have any suspended ceiling there. So it's like a fixed. And it's like all the steel is something like, it's really rough steel, 15 millimeters thick, and just off the shelf from the craftsmen, and just kind of quite direct and solid, ready to be used for a long time. But on the inside, in the classrooms, it's all kind of like oak, solid oak, wooden floors, almost like an old room with skirting boards, thick skirting boards like that, frames around the windows of oak, and the white is not really white, it's a bit off-white. So it's really like warm, kind of a classical classroom of an old school. So you have these like skirting boards here and frame kind of around the building, around the houses, around the doors. And all this is kind of solid oak. The auditorium can be opened up. And actually, when we were to decide what kind of folding walls we're going to use, because actually we hate folding walls. You always have these kind of separations between the panels, which are always like visible, and you never know if a folding wall is a wall or is it like a installation, is it like a series of doors. And definitely it's always like plastic. It's really kind of strange thing. At that time, the client was like consistently asking for colors. We need some colors in this building. You're providing us with like a gray and it's like really soft toned building. We want some colors. And we decided we would discuss that with our artist, who's kind of really has been working with colors for a long time. And we said, "Can you do something about it? Can you give us some colors in the building?" And he pointed at the folding walls and said, "What's that?" It's folding wall. Okay, give me the drawing of the folding walls. So what he did, instead of, then we thought, yeah, maybe he will like choose some colors, like the panels will have like different colors. But he added like all these colors, so every panel has 6 different colors. And the separations between the panels disappears completely. So there's like really like a striped thing, very beautiful, and give this rich colors in the building. But then you open it up, you fold some of them, the folding walls are placed here or there, and the auditorium can then be extended to the lobby. And in the auditorium, you have, when it's open, it's not only open to the lobby, but it's really open to the exterior here. And on the other side, it opens to the entrance area. So when you're standing on the stage, you see the sea and you see the village. It's like really standing in the middle of the sports grounds, which used to be there, and with the sky. And there. And the colors, what's interesting about the way we use the colors is that it's on the room, it's the auditorium, which has these striped walls, but at the same time, it gives the colors towards the outside. So it is part of the visual effect, or it's the visual expression of the building, without being directly part of the elevation. And that appears also on the two main courtyards on the entrance area, which is this one, and the terrace on that one. It establishes the relationship with the outside, and not only the building, between the building and the outside, but between really the heart of it, the interior towards the outside, both near and far. Thank you.
Merci Kari, ambassadeur de Kurtogpi. Peut-être que vous avez des questions, des choses de papier, vous voulez savoir comment c'est construit. J'avais une question par rapport aux typologies de maisons sur cour.
Ouais.
En fait, si les cours, par rapport à votre climat, si elles étaient plutôt utilisées comme éléments de relation visuelle en diagonale et au sein même de la maison et comme apport de lumière, ou si on pouvait aussi les utiliser pour s'y tenir.
Oh.
Et
Oui, en fait, on peut l'utiliser, disons le plus important, c'est de protéger contre le vent. En fait, c'est le vent qui est le plus grand problème là. Tu vois, alors, si on est vraiment protégé contre le vent, ça marche. Mais disons, c'est pas chaud, mais c'est comme dans ces maisons-là, c'est beaucoup utilisé. Tous ces cours, en fait.
Mais en été, vous avez des températures
très élevées, en fait.
Ah, très élevées.
Oui, 20.
Ah. Mais pendant 1 mois et demi, 2 mois.
Ouais, c'est pas. Ouais. 2 à 3 mois. Ouais, 2 mois et demi. Mais une fois c'est 20, c'est un annoncement à radio, quoi. C'est
la canicule.
Pardon?
C'est la canicule.
Oui.
Et puis j'avais une autre question, ça concerne toujours les maisons individuelles. La maison avec cette façade en acier corten.
Ouais.
En fait, quelle est la structure derrière? Comment est fixé l'acier corten?
En fait, c'est tout disons, c'est la structure en béton. Tout c'est en béton. Et après, c'est le bâton en bois. C'est fixé en bois, en fait. Parce que, c'est c'est pas les pièces en bois comme ça. Et après, c'est le corten directement là-dessus.
Qui est vissé.
Qui est vissé, ouais.
Ouais.
Mais disons, ça c'est typiquement des structures des maisons en Islande, c'est le béton.
Ah, c'est le béton?
Oui.
Mais c'est cher en béton, non?
Non.
Pas en Islande.
Pas en Islande. Non, disons, le béton, c'est vraiment disons, un des rares matériaux islandais, en fait. Parce qu'on n'a pas de bois, on n'a pas d'acier. Et puis pour transporter l'acier, disons, avec le bateau, ça coûte cher.
Et de la brique? Ce serait
Non.
pas moins cher?
Non. La deuxième raison pour le béton, c'est le tremblement de terre. Avec le brique, ça ne marche pas. Ça tombe. Mais disons, c'est tous ces renforcements disons, le béton, qui est vraiment le numéro 1.
Est-ce que vous avez des normes antisismiques qui se sont durcies?
Pour le tremblement de terre?
Oui.
Oui.
Donc qui ont passablement renchéri les coûts, je pense. Aussi,
qui sont assez sévères, en fait. Très sévères. C'est surtout c'est la stabilité qui est souvent vraiment le plus difficile, quoi, de faire. C'est pas seulement de faire contre les fissures, mais c'est la stabilité des bâtiments. C'est comme la maison, la première, le rouge, là, Perlecore, qui est vraiment avec cette immense disons, le terrasse couvert. Ça, c'est vraiment, disons, l'acier là-dedans, c'est 3 fois d'une maison typique de même taille.
Oui.
À cause de en fait, c'est porte-faux, mais partout un peu. C'est très compliqué, mais disons, c'était surtout la stabilité.
Merci.
Merci.
Oui.
Au niveau énergétique, vous avez des lois très strictes en Islande?
Non. Mais elle devient plus en plus stricte quand même. Ouais. Non, disons, il y a une raison, une grande raison, c'est comment on chauffe les maisons. C'est pas 97% des maisons, c'est géothermique. Et puis, disons, dans une maison normale, la chambre de chauffage, c'est une petite armoire comme ça, grande comme ça. Puis c'est l'eau chaude entre la maison et puis voilà, c'est bon. Mais en même temps, c'est de plus en plus strict, quoi. Disons, au niveau de l'environnement. Et bien sûr, sustainability et tout ça, c'est comme ailleurs en fait. Mais disons, c'est avec les matériaux, c'est une chose particulière, c'est le transport avec les matériaux, ce qui change un peu les nombres. Il faut bien sûr calculer jusqu'au bout, quoi. Alors, comme acier, comme bois, peut être moins sustainable que des autres choses à cause de ça.
D'autres questions? Oui.
Merci beaucoup. En tout cas, moi j'aime bien le dernier image. Et vous avez parlé plusieurs fois le mot comme extérieur. Mais j'ai rarement écouté le mot comme la nature.
Mm-hmm.
Donc je ne sais pas, vous avez des notions ou idées un peu particulières entre extérieur et la nature? Parce que souvent, c'est assez délicat pour mettre rapport entre bâtiment et la nature.
Ouais.
Et puis, dans votre approche, quand vous faites le projet, comment vous le rapport entre la nature, par exemple avec la nature ou contre la nature ou dans la nature. Ça, j'aimerais un peu écouter votre réflexion sur la nature, pas simplement extérieure.
Non, ouais. Disons ça, en fait, c'est un des thèmes, c'est la discussion constante maintenant en Islande, en fait. Et puis je pense que maintenant, on vit dans une période qui est vraiment décisive, en fait. On est en train de développer, ou en train de former, disons, un cadre de loi. Quelle est la nature qui doit être protégée et quelle est la nature qu'on peut vraiment faire. Disons, il y a la pression pour faire disons, les stations hydrauliques pour l'énergie. Et puis avec tout ça, on commence à toucher la nature. Et puis, ouais, je pense que il y a cette vraiment délicate, disons, cette ligne entre d'utiliser la nature et donc bâtir dans la nature et pas le toucher. Et puis je pense, mais de plus en plus maintenant, on dit oui, on doit vraiment définir où on peut construire et où on ne peut pas du tout construire. Et en fait, au milieu de l'Islande, probablement on ne peut pas construire rien du tout en fait, dans quelques années en fait. Mais jusqu'à maintenant, c'est un peu, ouais, c'était un peu comme une ressource qu'on peut utiliser comme on veut presque. Mais c'est très très peu de temps que, disons, c'est seulement ces dernières dizaines d'années en fait, qu'on ça change vraiment. Et puis je pense que il faut une grande page, une grande ça touche, je pense que c'est une question, ça touche un peu qu'est-ce que c'est la nature, ça touche un peu la définition, qu'est-ce que c'est la nature, quand est-ce que c'est la nature, quand est-ce que c'est une nature qui n'est pas déjà touchée ou déjà bâtie. En fait, je pense que c'est un peu la discussion maintenant en Islande, c'est on ne va pas toucher plus des endroits naturels. Dans le sens comme ça, on ne va pas bâtir. Déjà maintenant, il y a un très très grand parc national qui est établi. En fait, c'est le plus grand parc national de l'Europe. La plupart de ce parc national, c'est un glacier, quand même. Ouais. Mais disons, ils vont faire ça plus en plus grand. Et puis, j'espère que avec ça, disons, la question, comment est-ce qu'on bâtit dans la nature, ça va être peu, disons, c'est un peu pure définition pure de la nature, n'est-ce pas, en fait, que j'essaie d'expliquer. Mais je pense que c'est là où on va vraiment faire la limite.
D'autres questions? Alors je vous propose de clore cette conférence. Merci beaucoup d'être venu.
Merci.
Et merci à Kurtogpi d'être venu pour cette conférence.